Here the Watchman presents The Future of America with Mike Kerr. Isaiah 21:6 says, "For thus the Lord said unto me, Go, set a watchman, let him declare what he sees." Today, Mike Kerr and his fellow watchmen discuss current events through a biblical lens and how these events affect us, the future of America, and the world we live in.
Good day, everybody. Hey, it's Mike Kerr, and this is The Future of America. Today, I am so incredibly blessed to have a guy who's standing up. He's standing up against the machine here in America, and he's running for office. We have Jackson Lahmeyer. Jackson, thank you so much for joining us.
Hey, it's so good to be on with you. Thanks for having me on the show. It's a real honor.
So, Jackson, tell me, what possessed you in this current time? We have a president in the United States who's an absolute idiot, who can't even decide when to go to the bathroom. Now, what made you?
Here he likes the Vatican.
Yeah. What led you to stand up and defend America?
Well, you know, it's an interesting thing. I pastor a church here in Tulsa, Oklahoma, Sheridan Church. It's a great, great church. And so honored to be a part of that. My wife, Kendra, and I, we're small business owners here in Owasso, Oklahoma, where we live. We got 5 amazing kids. People can go to my website. They can check out. And by the way, those kids that you see on my website, those are real kids. I just want everybody, those are not photoshopped in. Those are real kids. And I'm telling you, they're absolutely beautiful. I'm so proud of them. But on January the 6th, I was just so frustrated with the senator from the state of Oklahoma, James Lankford. I was watching it on national television, and James Lankford was giving a speech about how he could not certify the electors from the state of Arizona. He was giving this speech on the Senate floor, national television, January the 6th, and then the protesters come in the middle of his speech, and so they cut him off, right? They cut him off in the middle of his speech, and remember, they took everybody underground into the basement. And 6 hours goes by, and then James Lankford, the senator from the state of Oklahoma, the reddest state in the union, by the way, all 77 of our 77 counties supported and voted for Donald J. Trump in both 2016 and 2020. So James Lankford comes back onto the Senate floor 6 hours after giving this speech on national television, how he couldn't certify the electors. And then he does the very thing he just said he couldn't do. And it blew my mind. It blew my mind. I said, I've never seen anything like that in my life. Somebody giving a speech on national television. And you got to remember, on January 6th, the whole world was watching this. You know, most of the time, nobody watches what's being said on the Senate floor or the House floor. Nobody's watching that stuff except those who are obsessed with C-SPAN. But that day was different. Everybody was watching. And I'd never seen that happen. He flip-flopped like a fish out of water, caved like an absolute coward, and I was just frustrated. So I started complaining to my wife, Kendra. And, I was just complaining so much, and she got annoyed with it, said, "Stop complaining, do something about it." And I'm like, I don't know what to do about it. And let's just be honest, complaining is way easier than doing. So I just kept complaining, I just kept complaining. And she really got annoyed with it and said, "Stop complaining, you're supposed to run against him." And I said, "No, that's not what I'm supposed to do. That's a statewide race. I've never ran for school board, let alone the U.S. Senate. I pastor a church and own a business, okay? That's what I do. I don't run for the U.S. Senate because that's a totally different thing." And she said, "You're supposed to do it." So I gathered 20 friends of mine who are business owners in the Tulsa area over at my home, and I presented the idea to them. They all said, "You need to do it. We'll help you do it." And I said, "That's interesting." So I'm on an interview with Ann Vanderstill. I'm sure you know Ann. And I'm on this interview with Ann talking about state of the country, how I might run, I might not run. I'm not entirely sure what I'm going to do. And a guy named Carl is watching the interview. And Carl calls General Michael Flynn and says, "You got to check out this guy from Tulsa, Oklahoma, who's thinking about challenging James Lankford." And General Flynn tuned in. They vetted me that night. He liked what he saw. Ann sent me a text at 5 a.m. the next morning and said, "Hey, strange question, but I got to ask, is it okay if I give General Michael Flynn your cell phone number? He wants to talk to you." I just was like, General Flynn wants to talk to me. Why does General Flynn want to talk to me? And he called me. We had a beautiful conversation. And, he said, you're going to run and you're going to win. And I said, yes, sir. Yeah. When the general gives a command, you say, yes, sir.
Jackson, I mean, here's the deal. Americans today, I mean, you're a Christian.
Absolutely.
The Christian voice and largely the right, and I don't really mean to use that term, but that our people have finally stood up. And the thing is, we look at what's going on in America today. We have this horrible event that happened in Wisconsin. We had the Rittenhouse trial. We have another trial, 2 more trials going on right now. America is under attack. And what we need is people like you to stand up and be accountable.
Yeah.
I mean, what do you see as the future of America?
Well, you have 2 options. You can either fight and win, or you can choose not to fight and automatically lose. Those are our 2 options. If we don't fight, it's over. We've lost. But if we'll fight, I believe that we will win. Now, people ask the question, how do we fight? What does that practically look like for those who, not everybody's going to run for the U.S. Senate. Not everybody's going to run for some kind of office, but all of us can get active and engaged, and we can not just be a spectator, but we can be a participant in saving the United States of America. And so I call it the 3 T's. It's the 3 T's. It's very simple. All of us can do this. Number 1, we have to invest our time. We have an allotted amount of time, meaning we're all given the same amount of time, and we get to choose how we invest it. And in the United States of America, there's a lot of good things you can do. There's 1,000,001 things you can do. And C.S. Lewis put it like this: the enemy will come and distract you with a good book so you don't read the great book. So a lot of times it's not that we're doing bad things or evil things. We're doing good things, but we're missing out on greater things. And right now, the greatest thing that we can do is help save this country. So we've got to invest our time. Number 2, we've got to invest our talents. God has gifted each of us with unique abilities and talents. They're all different. But when we come together, all of a sudden, we become an unstoppable force if we'll invest our time, our talent. But then number 3, it's so important. We've got to invest our treasure in the America First agenda. And let me tell you what I mean by that. You can vote right every 2 years. You can vote right every 4 years. But if you spend your money wrong every single day, you're just spinning your wheels. In other words, we've got to stop funding companies that hate this country, and we've got to start funding America First companies that love this country, like Mike Pillow of Mike Lindell. You talk about a warrior. Mike is a total warrior. And I told Mike's a good friend of mine. I said, hey, everywhere I go, I'm going to tell people to go to mypillow.com because Mike is doing what more people should be doing. He's investing his time, his talent, and his treasure to help save this country. So therefore, if you're going to buy bed sheets or you're going to buy towels or pillows, don't go to Macy's. They hate this country. Go to mypillow.com and support Mike Lindell. Support an American First business, and you can use the promo code Jackson. You're going to save 66%. What could be better than that? You're going to support an American First business and get 66% off. But that's 3 T's: time, talent, treasure.
Well, Jackson, let's look at this. Let's take a step back for a second. I mean, here you are. You're like a guy who has a great family and a great business, and you're doing great. Life's good, right? And now you throw yourself in front of the enemy and fight. What led you to do that?
Well, getting nudged from my wife, getting nudged from those that I trust, getting nudged from General Flynn, and also being nudged from the Lord. It was one of those things that you brought up a good point. I have a great life. I have nothing to complain about. It doesn't mean I have a perfect life. We all have struggles. We all have family issues. Well, business. You have all kinds of stuff. But I had a good life. I had nothing to really just kind of throw a wrench in the thing. I had a good life. But I also recognize we are in a lot of trouble. And this is not just we are in a lot of trouble here in this country. We're at war within this country. It is not a war between Republicans and Democrats. That's what we're taught to think this is Republicans versus Democrats. No. It's a battle between good and evil, and you got to pick a side. So many people, they think to themselves, well, God's going to join the Republican side, or God's going to join the Democratic side. And that's the wrong perspective. God's not joining the Republicans or the Democrats. Who's joining God? God doesn't join our team. We join his team, and his team is about justice and righteousness, godliness. And truth, by the way, which is something that's greatly lacking in our country, is the love and the desire for truth. And when you remove yourself from truth, you're actually removing yourself from God, because God is truth. So we have to quit thinking of convincing God to join the Republican Party. That's the wrong idea. You got to convince the Republican Party to join God. And so we got to shift the paradigm.
Well, Jackson, I mean, you're so dead on. I mean, I was a private contractor to the Marine Corps, and I'll tell you what, I learned what mission focused meant. And you seem to be mission focused. So tell us, if you are elected, or when, let me rephrase that.
I like that. When
you are elected and serve our country, we have this like doctor out there, and we have a president who's trying to sell us on we should take this thing to fix everything. What will you do?
Yeah. Well, one, we'll fight for freedom. Two, we will push the initiative to fire, arrest, and convict America's favorite doctor for crimes against humanity. I mean, I'm telling you, we got trouble. We got, and so many people, they worship this doctor. They worship this doctor, which is a terrible thing. When you look at what this doctor has done in regards to the Wuhan lab and all those different things that most people know about, we don't have to preach to the choir. But our country is in a lot of trouble because what we do is we idolize wicked people and we demonize good people. We've kind of fallen into that category out of Isaiah chapter 53, where it says, woe to those that call good evil and evil good, those that call light darkness and darkness light. That's what we're doing. I mean, you got to think about it. You got a guy like Kyle Rittenhouse being demonized as a white supremacist for shooting 3 white people. I mean, that doesn't even make any sense on just the flat out basis. And then you have somebody like him on the verge of spending life in prison. Now, thankfully, a jury of his peers did the right thing, but that could have gone. He should have never been on trial in the first place. But that just goes to show you how messed up our culture is. We are living upside down. We've got to start living on our feet and thinking with our heads, but we're not doing that right now. We've lost common sense. And so we're going to apply common sense into the U.S. Senate. I'm not going to present myself as some great policy expert, because that's not who I am. I am not some policy expert. I'm a pastor, I'm a business owner, and I'm a father and a husband. I am a leader, though. I don't think we have a policy expert shortage. What we have is a shortage of leaders. We need leadership in this country. Policy experts have gotten us in the mess that we're in right now. We've got to get some leaders who will just apply simple common sense. And I believe common sense will solve 99% of the problems we face today.
You know what? Amen, brother. And here's the deal, folks. If you live in Jackson State, you've got to support him. I mean, this is a man who is a pastor. He believes in Jesus. He is trying to bring America back to what my father fought for in World War II. He's not there to give the BS line that everyone's talking in Washington right now. This is a man who's going to stand up and be accountable and talk about where America needs to go moving forward. We all feel so lost right now. You know why? Because we don't have enough people like Jackson. We don't have enough people out there who are willing to stand up and say, hey, man, let them throw the spears at me. God's got this.
Yeah.
So Jackson, listen, how do people find you? How do they support you?
Well, they can go to my website, which is jacksonlahmeyer.com, JacksonLahmeyer. Now, for most people, they're like, that's really hard to spell. I just like, that's a lot, man. And, a lot of they'll ask me, how do you say your name? Is it Lahmeyer? Is it Lahmeyer? Really smart people, they just call me Jackson. They don't even try, but it's Lahmeyer. Now, we made things easy because I always joke around with people. I say, if I would have known that one day I'd run for the U.S. Senate, I would have legally changed my name from Jackson Lahmeyer to Jack Law. Can you imagine how easy it would have been to campaign on a name like Jack Law? Can you see the T-shirts and the billboards? Jack Law. You can't lose with a name like Jack Law. But I didn't change my name legally. I did buy the domain, however, jacklaw.us. So Jacklaw, JACKLAW.us will redirect you to jacksonlahmeyer.com. So you don't have to worry about spelling Lahmeyer. All you got to remember is jacklaw.us.
Well, Jackson, what a breath of fresh air you are.
Thank you.
God bless you for
I appreciate
what you're
that.
doing. People listening to this, you think that you're sitting on your couch right now and you're listening to our broadcast. I'm telling you, get up off of that couch, get out there and do something like Jackson is to serve our country and to serve our Lord. Get out there and get busy. Jackson, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you. It's a real pleasure. It really is.
God bless. And hey, I'll see you, I think, here in a couple of weeks.
Are you coming down to Dallas?
I think we are.
We're gonna have a great time.
You get our ready. Planes out of our little country bumpkin airport that where we live. We'll be there.
It's going to be fantastic.
Listen, folks, I'm not kidding you. Get on board. Follow the wave that we are creating here in the United States to take America back. And the one way you can do it, you can support Jackson. Get on board today. God bless each and every one of you. We'll see you next time here on another episode of The Future of America. God bless.
To support the work of Hear the Watchmen, find a way to get involved, or learn more about upcoming events, visit our website at www.hearthewatchmenmen.com. Subscribe to our YouTube channel, Hear the Watchman Journey, and be sure to share our content on your social media. God bless you, and thanks for your prayers and support. And until next time, go be a watchman on the wall and declare all that God has shown you.